There is a moment, just before the tears fall, when time seems to slow down. For a brief instant, the world's noise dissolves, and all that remains is the raw, unfiltered truth of grief. On August 4th, fans of the New Heights podcast, used to uproarious laughter and sibling banter, witnessed that very moment. NFL stars Travis and Jason Kelce, brothers known for their toughness and unbreakable spirit, sat before the microphone not as athletes or celebrities, but as sons mourning a profound loss. It was a different kind of episode, one that would ripple far beyond the sports world. The mood was somber as the show began. Travis, always the more animated of the two, wore a black cap pulled low, his face shadowed. Jason, in a simple gray hoodie, looked as if he'd barely slept. This time, there was no witty banter, no inside jokes about touchdowns or locker room shenanigans. Instead, there was a silence that spoke volumes. Travis cleared his throat, his voice barely above a whisper. "This past week has been one of the hardest weeks of our lives." Jason, never one for many words, simply nodded, his eyes already rimmed red. On the screen, a faded black and white photo appeared. Ed Kelce, their father, held hands with Maureen McGuire, his partner of more than 20 years. They were both beaming, event badges hanging from their necks, proud parents on the sidelines of their sons' games. It was a photo heavy with family memories, a lifetime of shared support and love. Jason gingerly unfolded a piece of paper, one that had clearly been read and reread. It was the obituary that Ed Kelce himself had written for Maureen. His voice wavered, but he pressed on. "Maureen was my light in the darkest days. She loved me unconditionally, and my sons as if they were her own. She watched every single game Travis and Jason played. Without Maureen, I wouldn't be me." A tear slipped down Jason's cheek as he paused. Travis leaned in, his hand steady as he continued reading. "She always called me the good boy who makes trouble. Every time I scored, she'd text me, 'You've broken my old heart again, Travis.'" For a moment, both brothers laughed through their tears, the kind of laughter that comes only from deep, shared pain. But when Jason read the final line, the emotion spilled over. "Goodbye to the woman who made a house a home. See you on the other side of the galaxy." It was a line that seemed to stop time. For a few seconds, there was only the sound of quiet breathing, the soft tapping of fingers on a wooden table. The familiar podcast studio was transformed into a sanctuary for grief, the air heavy with love and memory. Maureen McGuire, or Mean as they affectionately called her, had been more than a partner to Ed Kelce. She was a force of nature in her own quiet way, a gentle presence who had shaped the Kelce family from the sidelines. For 2 decades, she attended every game, every family gathering, every milestone. She was the glue that kept the brothers close, the peacemaker when tempers flared. "There were days when Travis and I would argue," Jason recalled. "She was the only one who could call us up, say one sentence, and everything would be okay again." Travis nodded, his eyes brimming. She didn't need to say much. Sometimes just a look was enough. The world knows Travis and Jason as fierce competitors, men who have faced the pressure of packed stadiums and Super Bowl Sundays. But in that moment, they were sons who had lost the woman who made their house a home. As the episode went on, Travis reached into his pocket and pulled out something unexpected, a handwritten letter from Maureen, written before she was hospitalized. His fingers shook as he unfolded the creased paper. "My boys, don't be sad if one day I'm no longer here. I lived a full life when I could call you my children. Continue to love each other, protect each other, and remember that I'm always there in your hearts, in the cheers from the stands." Jason could no longer hold back his tears. He turned to Travis, and they nodded to each other, a silent promise that Maureen's legacy would live on in the way they loved and supported one another. When the letter was finished, the brothers simply sat in silence. No one spoke for nearly a minute. There was only the sound of slow, even breathing. It was a sacred pause, a rare and precious thing in the steady churn of podcast content. The silence was a tribute, more eloquent than any words. Finally, Jason spoke. "She wouldn't want us to be sad for too long. But today, I think we can be sad, right?" Travis agreed. Today is hers. That moment of vulnerability resonated far beyond the podcast's usual audience. One fan wrote, "It doesn't matter if you're an NFL superstar or not. Losing a mother is something that can't be avoided. My heart goes out to the Kelce family, Travis and Jason will keep going for her. As the episode drew to a close, Travis spoke directly to the camera. We're not just doing this to remember Maureen, but to thank everyone who ever loved her, even if they only met her once. She warmed our hearts, and from now on, every time we compete, we'll always carry her with us. Jason, his voice steady despite the tears, added, "She never liked the spotlight, but today she deserves to be known to the world." The outpouring of support stunned the family. Messages, handwritten notes, flowers, and memorial posts arrived from every corner of the country and even overseas. Some were from old friends who had met Maureen at games years ago. Others came from young fans who had only recently discovered the Kelces during the Super Bowl. Each message was a reminder that grief, though deeply personal, is also universal. My family felt embraced, shared, and that was magical, Jason said. Travis, usually the life of the party, was quieter than fans had ever seen him. He described the flood of comments that came in after the episode aired. "I thought only a few close friends would watch, but I didn't expect millions of people to listen and leave comments that brought tears to my eyes." He pulled a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket and read a comment from a fan. "Maureen may not have been famous, but she lived on as a heroine in the Kelce story. And thanks to your podcast, she's now a part of our story too." Throughout the episode, the brothers kept marveling at the breadth of support. Letters came from teachers, nurses, retirees, and even a Vietnamese doctor in California who wrote, "Maureen was like my mother, a great woman who silently cared for her family in the shadows." A fan in Ireland sent a poem in Gaelic, "Mothers never really leave us. They just become the wind behind us." The cheers when we step onto the stage of life. Moved by the generosity they received, Travis and Jason announced something new, a nonprofit in Maureen's honor, the Maureen Maguire Foundation. Its mission, to support stepmothers and other women in blended families, those who often work in the shadows yet hold families together. Maureen never needed the spotlight, Jason shared. But if that light can shine on other women who are doing the same work as her, we think she'd be happy. Travis added, "She once told me, a family doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to love each other." This fund is our way of spreading that love to people who have never heard, "Thank you, Dad." At the end of the podcast, the brothers played a short recording of their father, Ed Kelce. His voice was shaky but full of emotion. "I lost Maureen, but not my memories. I lost a life partner, but not all the love we shared. Thank you, everyone, for helping me see that her love lives not only in me, but in millions of other hearts." The studio was silent as the recording ended. Travis placed his hand on Jason's shoulder. Both men were visibly moved. Maureen had loved music, especially Carole King's "You Got a Friend." Every time they called, she would softly sing the first verse. As the camera lingered on the two brothers, the song played quietly in the background. There are moments in life when even the strongest are brought to their knees. For Travis and Jason Kelce, that moment played out before millions, but it was never about fame or football. It was about family, about the love that binds us together even when the world feels like it's falling apart. In sharing their grief, the Kelces reminded everyone of something essential. No matter how tough you are, no matter how many stadiums cheer your name, we all need each other. We all have someone who stands in the wings, loving us quietly, holding us together. And when that person is gone, it's the love they leave behind that makes us whole again. As the episode drew to a close, Travis looked at his brother, his eyes shining. "We'll keep playing for her, for all the people who loved her, and for the ones who never got the chance." That's the Kelce legacy now. Love, loss, and the courage to keep going together.